Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the. Oops, that's not the right screen. That's as well. Welcome to the European Researchers Night. My name is Sacha Grolet, and I'll quickly introduce you to NETLAS and what we are doing as what we are doing, and then I will leave the students present a little bit more about the life and well, what they want to share. So NETLAS, that's a European research network that's all around Europe, and the main idea here is that we are 14 PhD student researchers. We will be trained during this network, and we all have the same research topic, but using different approach. So we all work to develop new light source to improve optical coherence tomography, which is an imaging technique that, among other things, is mostly used for investigation of the retina, so investigating the eye. And as you can see here, we are all around Germany, the United Kingdom, Denmark as well, and also in Austria, Italy, Finland, and Ireland. The people that will talk a bit tonight, they are here. So we have Andre, that's currently in Ireland, Ifta, that's currently in Finland, Philip, also in Finland, Esteban in Denmark, Masoud in Denmark as well, Irene from Germany, Mojde also in Germany, and Mari is also in Germany, Asim also in Germany, Mama also in Germany. I'm from Denmark, Alejandro is in the UK, René is also in the UK, and Gopika also from the UK. And we also invited few researchers to also present a bit their experience, because that's and they are both from the University of Kent, also in the United Kingdom. So I will now invite Philip, if you want to have a few words.
Sasha. Yes, thank you for this kind introduction. I thought I might just give a really short and brief introduction about what lasers are for everyone. So I hope that everybody can see this. Yeah. So when you hear about lasers, many people might think about like just a regular laser pointer, or some even the Death Star. Some more advanced people might know that this here is an image of the very first Ruby laser, where we have here actually a flashlight lamp and an active medium. And that was actually quite futuristic, because just 5 years after this invention, the creators of James Bond already saw this huge potential of lasers for material processing as it is used nowadays. But lasers can also be used in many, many other fields. And well, since the 1960s, also this class of laser has evolved a lot. So nowadays we have different classes like dye lasers, gas lasers, and solid state lasers, and they all have their own sub-branches. And I'm doing some research on semiconductor lasers and try to do some contribution with this to optical coherence tomography. So the way we do this is we take very, very thin semiconductor gain membranes that we fabricate by ourselves. We call this MEXL, which is a complicated abbreviation, but it's a laser. And so the question is, well, okay, we have a membrane that is just 500 nanometers. Does it laze? Well, it does. Yes. So this here was what we were taking in our lab. We have a membrane which is pumped with 2 green lasers from both sides, and we generate a laser at 800 nanometers. So basically, we use 2 lasers to generate another laser. And here are some fancy properties of this laser beam. So we do this because they have typically a very high beam quality, and well, the aim is to also use this for OCT. So far, the state of the art in these mixers is that they were realized in several different wavelengths or colors. You can see here visible wavelength ranges, or, well, in the infrared, there's also a lot that has been published so far. Yeah, and the novelty was around 800 and also 660 nanometers. Yeah, we try to use this for OCT imaging applications, as Sasha already mentioned. Here you can see, for instance, a 3D scan of a human finger, and you can even resolve different layers of the skin. It's an abbreviation for optical coherence tomography, which allows for light subsurface imaging at near microscopic resolution with direct imaging of the tissue morphology. And we do not need to prepare any sample or subject. We do not even need to be in contact with it. And it doesn't require ionizing radiation or anything that might harm the subject. And the working principle behind this is basically just an interferometer. So you have your laser, and then you have two mirrors. Well, basically just one mirror, and on the other side, you have the subject of interest, and then you want to detect this. And yeah, there is then also some fancy equations going. But basically, we try to use semiconductor lasers for this application. That's all that I wanted to give you at hand. Yeah. And yeah, we are not working on a Death Star so far. So in case you were paying attention just for this, then I have to disappoint you. Very sorry for that. Thank you for your attention. And with this, I would like to lead you further to the next PhD in this NETLAS consortium. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Philip. Yeah, that was very interesting. We still, well, we're not working yet on a Death Star, but that might come, sadly.
Maybe at some point.
After
yeah,
NETLAS,
the cost
yes.
might explode, but I don't know. Maybe in a few years from now, we might have another NETLAS configuration which has a little bit more funding. So then we might realize this. I don't
just say it a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we have Esteban that will say a few words. Is from DTU, so that's in Denmark.
Yes. I can share a picture. Oh, sure. Okay, can you see that picture?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so I work in DTU. I work making semiconductor lasers, also like Philip, but the semiconductor lasers that I work are smaller, way smaller than the ones he does. So I will talk about my secondment that I did in the University of Kent. For this, I took one laser from here from the TU, and I brought it to UK to use it in a OCT system. And so before going to UK, I was like, my work here in DTU is just the fabrication of the laser. So it was very different from what I had to do in Kent. So then I had to work with these setups like you see in this picture. So when I just first saw these things, I thought they were like, oh, this is so complicated. Yeah. And but then, yeah, I like this working here, it helped me to understand better how the OCT imaging is done and like looking how we obtain live images of the eye. That was very cool. Yes. And so since I was new to work in this kind of lab, then at the beginning it was like learning the alignment. And yeah, it would take me hours, like moving everything. And sometimes happen like, yeah, I spend a lot of time, and then I cannot still don't get the signal. And then I tell Alejandro that he was helping me there in Kent that I cannot get anything. I don't know what is happening. And then after checking again, like some more time, a bit more time, I realized like, oh, just the photo detector was not on or something like that. So yeah, these silly things happened, but I think that happened only like 1 or 2 times, so I didn't waste too much time. And besides that, we wanted to make this measurement on the master slave OCT. So for that, we have 2 interferometers. Well, here we cannot see that well, but there are 2 interferometers in this setup. And we were mixing the signal from the 2 interferometers and checking here in this oscilloscope. And that was also, I had had a lot of problems, like checking what was wrong, because I was getting only noise, like similar to the ones in the picture, like here. And at that time, Alejandro was not there, so who will help me? Yes. And so yeah, I checked the signals from the 2 interferometers, from everything. It was fine, but then after the mixing, it was not okay. And then Adrian came to check what was I doing, and at the beginning he thought that that I think the mixer was broken or something like that. And then he read and he realized that I was not using a mixer, that I was using a power divider. So that was the main thing. I just took that thing because it looks very similar, but I didn't even check. And after that, I could get some data. Yeah, I was and make the measurements that we want to do. And besides that, we got very nice images from the OCT in general all the time that I was there. So it was a very good experience. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That's definitely how you learn. You spend way too much time on silly things, and
Yes.
and then you will remember about them
Forever. Yes.
But at the end, you managed to get something interesting, right? So
yeah, that was the good thing. Yeah, I was worried. Yeah, I will spend the whole time aligning. Yeah.
How long did you spend there?
3 months.
3 months. Do you think that was enough to learn all these things?
3 months was just like on the edge, because I was like in the last hour that before leaving, I was like in the last there. Yes.
Giving everything still to the project.
Yes. So I think if it was it was a bit less than 3 months, it wouldn't be enough. Yeah, I think 3 months would be the minimum. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, you need to come back.
Yes, I will. Yeah.
Thank you, Esteban. We'll know here what Andre has to say. So Andre, you are working in Ireland in Urume, right?
No, Superdome.
Superdome, big company there.
Yeah.
So the floor is.
Hello, everyone. Honestly, I didn't even know what to tell, but I decided to tell about my secondment to Optical Research Center at Tampere University, because it left a lot of great, funny memories. I have been there for 4 months, and I have been involved in the process of publication.
Andre, sorry to interrupt. Do you have your microphone through? Can you please remove it? Or maybe it will help a little bit.
Yeah, it's better.
It is a bit, yeah.
Yeah. I have been there for 4 months and have been involved in the process of publication my samples for my work almost for the very first day. All publication process were carried out in clean room. It was a new territory for me. One of our teammates, Peter, taught me the process of manufacturing semiconductor device that I knew about this, but I never did it in detail. This is, for example, Dyson tracers, bonding mountains, chisel, or someone. Fortunately, I arrived after completing the work with lithography, but I hope that I will able to participate in my next visit. Then I started to study a new topic.
Sorry, Andre, we lost you a bit. Could you try to move it a bit? I don't know. Yeah. That's good sometimes. Maybe
okay.
We can find a way to fix it, or maybe connect directly on your computer.
Yes. Okay.
Thanks.
That's a new topic that requires training to work on various equipment.
Do you have a microphone on your computer? Directly on the computer? Might be better.
Right. I don't know whose way is it. Sorry.
There is. Do you mind if we try to switch to Mary so you have some time to switch to repair that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, then should I start?
Yeah, so Mary, you are working in Lübeck in Germany, right?
Yes, exactly. So currently I'm in Munich, but yes, my main workplace is Lübeck. Let me try. Okay, yeah, working. Yes. Did you say something?
We see your screen now. Hello?
You see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I've lost you for 1 second. Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Yes, so I'm just gonna talk about what I did during my second month in Munich. So I just came in Munich like beginning of July, and I'm gonna leave Munich for going to UK afterwards on the 4th of October. So yes, I basically drove all through Germany to come 3 months down here in the south. And yes, just first introduce Munich is a really nice city. There's always a lot happening around here. Just during the 3 months we had the European Championships, so we could watch some athletics, gymnastics, volleyball, or any of those kind of sports. There were a huge music festival that's called Super Bloom. So I had the chance to see David Guetta or Stromae and so on. Other things that happen here in the Bayern is they really love football, as a lot of people, especially because there is this FC Bayern, and we had the chance to see this football match against Barcelona that Bayern won, so that was great. And the last event that I think everyone knows that happens in Munich is the Oktoberfest that is taking place actually right now since 2 weeks. And it's really nice to see all those people enjoying even bad weather, because there's the Oktoberfest, everyone drinking a lot of beer. It's really funny, and I think everyone should do it at least a weekend in his life. It's really cool, especially if you come with their traditional clothes. That's very nice. But yeah, I came to Munich to come to Optores. So Optores is the company that have been founded by a former PhD student in Lübeck. So they basically sell FDML lasers. So it's quite fast swap source that are used basically usually for OCT and some other application also. And yes, just a bit of science of what I did here in Munich. So I've changed some part in my laser, and I end up with the graph on the left side that is quite beautiful. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. It's a bit of hard, I would say. It's just that basically the light in my laser is interfering with itself, so it creates all those ripple everywhere. So So it looks very nice, but it's actually very annoying for my laser because you can see on the right top graph that the spectrum that should be very flat and smooth is really bad, and there is ripple everywhere. But it's a bit funny to study and to try to compensate and suppress in the laser. It's really interesting, but it's quite a nightmare to remove it. So I'm basically working on this in 3 months, and it's getting a bit frustrating, but at least it gives us some nice images. Yeah, and this is called polarization mode dispersion. So basically the light has two axes, the fast and the slow axis. So it's horizontal and vertical, and basically when they propagate in the fiber, and if you have some polarization mode dispersion, then these two axes are delayed, and then they interface with themselves, and it gives you all this interference. And just to finish, just a small video. I found it funny for me, but maybe especially if the video is not playing nicely. I don't know if you see it. It's just funny to me to see the light.
A little bit.
Okay, no. I can
You can see that it's dancing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just funny for me when I see the light kind of dancing on the screen.
Are you also dancing next to your laser? Oh.
Maybe I should, and it would work better. I don't know. Yeah, so it's just basically the zero frequency of the interference of my interferometer, my Mach Zehnder interferometer. Yeah. But yeah, maybe I should dance a bit next to my laser.
Maybe you should avoid dancing, and
maybe I should also.
It depends on the table, I guess. But yeah, interesting. That's beautiful pictures. Well, sometimes it's frustrating not to be able to remove an annoying effect, but that's how you discover things, right? You fight a problem for ages, and then finally you get a good idea.
Yeah, maybe we will finally get a good idea, because we had a lot of idea that I tried and it never fixed anything. It's still really bumpy.
Or was it working in a company after spending most of your time in the university?
It's different. Let's say that when you do something, they always think about how can we sell this, is it good enough for people to use it, and so on. And for me, I'm not on this way, I'm just more like, okay, I want to improve it and I want it to work like this. I don't care if I don't sell it or anything, especially that it's really the beginning. And so they are a bit disappointed because they can't sell a laser that works not good enough. But for me, I'm happy about it. But yeah, it's nice to work with other people. Then you learn different thing, and yeah. But Opto is quite a small company, so
yeah, that's also a different kind of experience if you compare with any bigger companies.
Yeah, I guess, yes.
Interesting, thank you.
Yeah,
maybe we'll try again to hear to Andre. If you fixed,
it's better.
Oh, that's way better.
Well, okay. Where I stop? Okay, I'm studying the effect of PCVD deposition modes on the properties of silicon nitride dielectric films. It was interesting to study how properties depends on modes, and also I could immediately see the results since the color of coating is changing each time, and I was excited what color I will get next time. And as a result, I was almost able to collect a coating of color of the rainbow on the orange and red were missing. In the free time from school, the guys of ORC arranged a barbecue. I have been to a couple of these events. It was amazing time. One of them I definitely remember was on the coast of a lake. and someone brought with them a portable sauna. It was so tonic to dive into the lake after the sauna. I guess it is an integral part of Finnish culture. You absolutely should to try it myself. Once, Philip and I was invited by Ivde to a dinner of his traditional food. There was a lot of tasty stuff, and we had a pleasure evening. I think it is interesting to learn something new about other culture. Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely interesting to travel. It must be great to have all these saunas.
Yes, thank you.
Did you bring one back to Ireland?
How you mean sauna? No. It's I mentioned again in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's something I would get used to.
I think we'll able to try it next school in Finland.
Definitely looking forward for that. Yeah. Great, thank you very much. That was
Is
interesting.
it like in Germany where everyone should be naked, or?
Yes. No. Oh,
okay.
No, but
okay, that's good.
No, not at all. Everybody can go as he wants, and yeah, it's you don't need to wear any towels. You can wear shorts. Basically, in the public saunas, everybody wears shorts, and yeah, there's no strict regulations about who does what when and so on. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Great, thank you. Now we'll listen a little bit to what Ifta is doing. So you're also from working in Finland, right?
Yes.
And floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. And I'm really happy to see all of you today. Just like 1 year before, for the first time, I was meeting all of you today, all of you in this event when I was in Bangladesh. So it's like in a blink of eye, 1 year gone. But it's been 1 year since I'm in Finland. So yeah, I don't know how much unique stories I have in my collection, but of course, for me, it was kind of a new experience to produce optoelectronic light sources from the scratch. That is, this was kind of new experience to get like semiconductor wafers and producing light sources and learning things, especially in the gallium antimonide platform. Yeah, at the moment, my goal is to investigate semiconductor laser diodes or superluminescent diodes, which are working for more than 2 micron wavelength. And after coming here, even after getting a long training in clean rooms, I was still quite afraid about one thing, which is chemical mechanical polishing. It was kind of nightmare for me. I did it like a couple of times. Yeah, I still remember that what I did the last time. For example, I kind of make the wafer quite thin, and it was like terrible. I was quite afraid that the wafer got too thin and it's kind of too much fragile. Yeah, but however, we find some good results at least. Yeah. So as Esteban was also telling that he was not getting some signals or kind of stories about that. I had some similar stories, kind of like quite small power and maybe of no use for OCT. But yeah, for now it seems, I hope that it will be working for OCT. Yeah. And the other stories from my side is like the multimode fiber which I use. It's a zirconium oxide multimode fiber, which is also kind of fragile. So whenever I try to clip those fiber, I used to lose fiber because it always breaks. so so this is kind of challenging task, even though not a big step, but yeah. And it's
How is it
also,
today about,
yeah.
like, are you an expert on both these techniques? Or are you still breaking wafers and breaking fibers? And
Okay, so now I am not breaking wafers, but I'm still breaking a bit fibers. But I hope that I will be a bit more pro in fiber clipping. Yeah. So this is also kind of new experience for me to work as a teaching assistant for master student while I'm also taking some courses here. Apart from my research works, I was lucky that I came here in Finland with my family, and honestly, this was the longest winter I experienced in Finland or in my life, and quite shortest summer. So yeah, I try to explore different places, especially in summer. And yeah, for the first time, I also experienced like swimming in the cold lake because there are quite many lakes in Finland. So I would say this is a country of lake. And the other interesting thing is, yeah, sauna. Is something quite strange and quite I experienced the traditional sauna in Finland, which is kind of yeah, some unique experience from my side. And also after coming to Finland, I went to Sweden for like a short trip in ship cruise. Yeah, it was also quite interesting thing I have experienced. Yeah, overall, life is going okay, good, and trying to push myself more on the research works and to get some impactful outcome for OCT, kind of like implementing devices which will bring out some fruitful result for gain bandwidth. Yeah. Yeah, so my PhD is moving on, and also I'm taking responsibilities of my family, and it's really nice that I have kind of adopted myself in this environment. And yeah, winter is again here, I think. Yeah, and yeah, I hope to meet you soon in Darmstadt. Yeah, thanks. So
yeah, you will. Thank you very much. Yeah, a lot of learning, about a lot of traveling. That's all this consortium is about, right?
yeah.
So you're the perfect illustration of what we can do when we put
Mhm.
all these resources together. That's
Yeah,
great.
of course, looking forward to see you in Finland in next year, I hope.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We will now hear Asim. Are you here? Yes, you are. And you're also in Lübeck, right? Germany?
Yeah, I'm in Lübeck, and maybe actually there is suddenly a party start on the floor which is top on me, so maybe there are some sounds, so I'm sorry for that. I don't know what it is. And yes, I am in Lubik right now, and basically I'm from Pakistan, South Asia. So if I would start from background, it started in my bachelor's when I took a lecture about the medical devices and those things. So like it was a kind of new word for me, like how a small device can have a big impact on human bodies and some artificial body parts which are working with the human life. So this was really fascinating for me. So it started from there, and then I did my bachelor thesis with one of professor who was working in OCT. And then from there till here, I would say like it was a long and great journey for me. I have been to different countries. I saw working environment, research environment of different countries. So maybe the good thing and big difference which I would say I experienced in our countries, there is a big difference between academia and industry. Like industry is doing something different, as Marie said, like they are always taking things like whether they have some benefit, they have some profit or not, or they are just because they are businessmen, so they are just trying to make more and more money. So they are not in linkage with the universities. But in European research environment and things like industries and academia, they are working parallel. So this is a really nice thing. And whenever I talk back in home with my friends or family, so I always discuss these things. I would say this is really nice, which I experienced. So other than that, like I would say being part of such kind of network, like as we are going to different places, so we are going to meet different people from different countries. So in this way, we learn a lot in terms of culture, in terms of food, everything. I would say this is a complete, I would say, great experience for me. Okay, then I guess if I talk about the research and my PhD, so as Marie is also making FDML laser, and yeah, our group is famous in FDML lasers. So there are different lasers which they already build on different wavelengths. So I am also building a super broadband laser. So they already have three different FDML lasers on 1064, 1300, and 1550. So my PhD project title is like I need to build a super broadband laser. So as from 1064 till 13, there is some gap between these two wavelengths. So I'm trying to build first FDML at 1190, which is centered at 1190. So this is my project till now, and yeah, I'm working on that. And results, yeah, as you guys are all PhD students, so I would say you can expect. So till now it's going pretty fine, and I'm close and going towards the goal of project. So in this 1.5 year, if I would say about the experiences, so there was few days like as there are different as there are few main components of a laser like gain and filter, I would say, and CFPG, like Bragg grading to compensate the dispersion. So these are the main three components. So one of the main component which was Fabry-Perot filter. So for that, like when I moved here, so after some literature, I was working on that. So as you guys know, like ferrules, which are the white thing in front of PC or APC connector. So like we order ferrules from Canada. It took 2 months or 3 months to reach here, and then the hole in the ferrule, the diameter 125, 126 micrometer, and then we need to put the glue in, and we need to remove the coating, then insert. So a lot of ferrules are going because the fiber is gonna broke inside of the ferrule. So like, and then glue the ferrule, and then you have to polish with, then you have to polish the glue, and then you have to shoot the ferrule with CO2 laser. So it was a long procedure. So I have gone through this procedure. Like it takes, I would say, like you have to do like 150, 160 ferrules. And then at at that point, then you have to send them to a company who are going to do a high reflective coating, and they are going to take 16 to 18 weeks. So like more 4 months. So the whole procedure took almost, I would say, 7 to 8 months. And now when they are coming back, so this is the point, because you have did all those things. And now there was a point like when you was thinking like, is it really gonna work or not? If not, then the whole year is gone. So this was the point. I was like, at the time when I sent, so I got some relief, like, oh yeah, I did something. And now, but at the time when the delivery was coming close, so I would say the graph was increasing, the stress graph. And then when I received that, so I was just thinking, I don't know if they can work. So I was every night I was coming back home and I was thinking, what if it's not gonna work? If filter is not gonna build with those things, then my 1 year is gone. So should I go back? What I would do? So I would say like I was in phase of these kind of feelings for almost a week. And my supervisor and we were trying there in lab, and like for 2 or 3 days we had no results, lot of losses and things. And even in my dreams I was thinking, oh no, I didn't get any results. So I was thinking I should go back, what is next, what is not. So this was, I would say, in bad terms, it was the main golden time for my 1.5 year till now. And then finally, after a few days, yeah, finally we built our first filter. And then it was, I would say this was the best moment of my PhD till now. And yes, and now, yeah, I'm trying to improve slowly. So other than that, other than PhD, the life in Lübeck, I would say, like before moving here, yeah, maybe this is for European people, maybe it's new, it's new, but for us, like the people who are living close to sea or rivers, they know how to swim, but normally we don't know how to swim. So for me, like I can't swim, and I went for water skiing and I fell down in the middle. So in the start, the water skiing was also my first attempt. So because I was a kind of dry animal, I'm not good in water sports and things. So I was all the time I was falling down in start, and then somehow I make it, and I went till more than 100 meter, and it was in the middle, and I fell down there. And yes, that was the point. Like I know I cannot swim, so everyone was laughing at me, and although I have a safety vest, but I was shy to shout, come and save me. And my colleagues and friends, they were laughing there. And I was shy, and I was trying to save myself. And then somehow Marie remember, oh, he cannot swim. Then one of guy came and he just helped me. And yes, then I enrolled in swimming. I learned swimming. And then this year I went for sailing. This was also a nice experience for me. And yeah, overall, I would say life is going really nice now. So this is all from my side.
That's great to hear. I mean, a lot of different things, but definitely a lot of successful things.
Yeah.
Great story.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you see, when going out after that much stress, risking the whole project, and at the end actually having something that works, that's probably the best feeling you can have.
Nice feeling, I would
say. One of the reasons why we are doing science, right?
Yeah.
Well, good luck with the sailing lessons.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And yeah, no, so thank you, Asim. And we'll come back to Canterbury here, and we have Julien, who is not part of NETLAS, but one of the PhD here in the University of Kent, and that will explain a little bit more on his experience.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. First of all, it's really nice to see you all again, since I saw you in Copenhagen in March, and really happy to see that your projects are moving forward. And yeah, I really enjoy the stories of water sports and breaking fibers as well. I can relate. I made a few slides. Again, I tried to be funny. We'll see if it is actually funny. So can you see my slides? Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, this is me, more or less. Okay. And so very briefly, what I do, I develop OCT, so optical coherence tomography, for imaging embryos. So we work with biologists, and we're trying to get better images of embryos for in vitro fertilization and improve the rates, improve the success of IVF. And the ultimate goal with all that, and also some added methods with OCT, is to make parents like those two very happy and that they can get children. Okay, so I will present my unique research moment because that was kind of the assignment, right? So I was looking for an idea earlier today, actually, and that's Sasha, as you can see, and that's Ramona. Okay, and they were both like, yes, you need to do something for the European Researchers' Night. We need an interesting stories, lab memories, whatever. And that's more or less what's going on in my head. I had no clue what to say, what to talk about, right? Although I've been here for 3 years, but I guess everything was great, so that it's hard to find the best moment, you know. So I could have talked about that time where I left stinky samples on René's desk. So this is René. But that's a bit too short of an anecdote, so I skipped on that. I could also have talked about that time where I left the laser on for a whole weekend, which was don't do that. If there's anyone watching on YouTube right now, don't do that. Providing you have access to such powerful things. But yeah, the laser is still working, so well done to NKT. I guess I could also have talked about that time where I managed to fit a full LabVIEW code on one single screen, which, if any of you know LabVIEW, this is, as you can see on the top right corner, this is this very, it can get very dull and very complex if you don't design it well. And you cannot unzoom on this program, which is very, very clever. So you have to scroll to find the bottom of your code, say. And once I managed to do that, I was super happy. And I have a nice animation to show it. Right, so I could have talked about that, but it's a bit nerdy. It's a bit like code programming focused. So I thought about something else, and I was like, maybe I can talk about that summer school we did with Sasha in June in Poland, and that's actually where I got COVID. So yeah, not the best memory, but actually it was fun because we met great people from all around the world, and we learned a lot of things with great lecturers in a nice venue. So okay, I still haven't found my topic. What do I do? Right, I think that's something that is worth talking about, where we put together an international conference with people here at Kent. So you can contact me to learn more about that. But I think I actually did a talk in Copenhagen with Adrian on that topic, so I won't bother you again. Right, this is my last slide. So I finally thought back and I was like, maybe the best moment is still to come. First paper published, yes, because this has not happened yet, but good hope that it will be in the coming month. Then I'd like my work to be cited and used, and more globally, I'd like the research to be useful for society. In my case, help the IVF process, and it would be nice if like the global public, the media, the politicians trust science a bit more, like they did for COVID, because they had to, but for other fields would be nice as well. Right, that was me. Thanks, Sasha.
Well, thank you. That was very good. Yeah, going through a lot of things. finally getting an idea about what to speak about and what to discuss. What about among all these things? What is the thing you would actually recommend the most, or maybe the most striking experience?
I guess the recommendation for anyone watching would be try to interact as much as you can with your peers, your colleagues, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Especially if you're starting, there's no silly question. So maybe that would be a recommendation. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Well, thank you for your time. That's great to have you again on a NETLAS event.
Thanks, guys.
Why did you want to do this so good, Julian? With the slides and everything. My goodness. Okay.
We know. Well, we stay in the UK with René. If you are here.
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately I don't have any figure to share. But hello everybody. My name is René, the birdie guy from Julian's presentation, and I'm just entering my third year of my PhD studies. I come from the Czech Republic, a small country right in the middle of Europe, where I studied at Brno University of Technology. I studied a subject called physical engineering and nanotechnology, focusing on physics of solids and optics. My both bachelor's and master's theses were on optical holographic microscopy, the imaging technique providing high-resolution wide-field images of biological specimens in real time. During my undergraduate studies, I spent 6-month Erasmus internship at University of Kent in Canterbury as a member of Applied Optics Group, where I was doing research on how to improve the quality of images obtained by optical coherence tomography technique, the imaging technique which the group at Kent specialized in. As an output of this internship, there is a scientific paper of which I am the main author. In the beginning, for me, there wasn't a big motivation to continue for postgraduate studies. I was rather thinking about working for the company designing holographic microscopes. However, during the last year of my undergraduate studies, one of the colleagues at Kent sent me an advertisement for PhD studies as a member of NETLAS European project. I found it as a big opportunity for doing PhD abroad. In the research group, I already knew the members. So I applied for the PhD, was hard, and now I'm back in Canterbury at Kent. As a NETLAS member, I do research on high-speed, low-cost lasers, laser sources for optical coherence tomography. I have my own lab, my always helpful colleagues, and regular meetings with my supervisor to track my progress and problems. When I arrived in England, one of the most common issues was, of course, English. It's always difficult to go abroad for a job or studies, but if you are planning to go to England, English people are in general nice and always helpful. If you are planning a PhD career, you must realize that it is kind of preparation and training to become a true scientific researcher, and you should expect a lot to demonstrate your progress and research in the way of scientific papers or the conferences. Okay, to conclude, after the initial worries I had at the beginning of my PhD abroad, I started to enjoy my work in a lab and living in England. NETLAS project is a great opportunity to merge your studies, work, and joy together. And finally, I would like to encourage students or people here interested in science to study math in a more concentrated way, so you can then prove you are right more exactly. So that's all from me.
Thanks, René. We can feel that you went through a lot of discussion about math during these years here.
Yes, indeed.
Well, thanks. And I think you're also traveling soon, experiencing a new country, going to Ireland.
I'm going to Ireland for my secondment in a Superroom company. Yeah,
that will probably be another great experience, and we need to discuss it maybe next year in another event. Thank you, René. So now we will have a short pause of about 10 minutes, and feel free to grab some coffee and some tea or get a snack, and we're back.
But we do have.
Okay, welcome back. So we are here for another stories from our NETLAS students. So Gopika, also from University of Kent, currently abroad, working from Austria. Is it right? Yes. So hello, and the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, I'm Gopika. So, as most of you, I was also not sure about what to tell you. So, I thought I'll bore you with my visa struggle. So as part of this network, we need to travel a lot, and most of the events are in Europe. And I was at UK, and being an Indian, I need a visa each time to go to Europe. So recently there was a conference at Dresden, and also my second one was initially planned at Germany. So I was accepted for an oral presentation at Dresden, and the first thing I looked was for an appointment. And unfortunately, the first latest appointment available was very close to the conference, and there was no chance that I will get the visa at that time. So we were like, okay, then I won't go and all. But then I was so determined. I wanted to go. I started looking into every possible Schengen countries. I know I have a lot of accounts in most of the Schengen countries, I guess. Then my second one was changed to Austria, and luckily there was this single appointment available at Manchester. So after all these running, all those confusions about visa, blah, blah, a lot of stuff, I went to the appointment. The appointment was just 10 minutes, and I got my visa in just 3 days. So after all this, I was able to attend the conference. I gave my first oral presentation. It was a great experience. And I got to see some of Europe. Like I visited Belgium, Düsseldorf in Germany and all. And right now I'm at Austria doing my secondment at recent. Where I'm able, like, I have only been 1 week. I'm like getting introduced into stuffs, and I was able to see a bit like applications of OCTs in other stuff, like many other things they are doing, and also other groups in recent. Also, I'm like getting to try some of the Austrian cuisines, which is very interesting for me. Yeah, and I would say the only struggle I'm having is German. I have to roam around with Google Translate. Even in the supermarket, I'm like roaming around with the Google Translate every single place. Yeah, that's it. That's my story. Thank you.
Great. Maybe we'll have some students here that will be able to teach you German.
Yeah. Luckily, the people here are very sweet. They like whenever we go to eat out, they are like very sweet. That they themselves will explain me everything, and yeah.
Where is it in Austria?
Linz.
Yeah. Well, that's great that you managed to find this loophole into the visa appointment system. And
yeah, I think I am now an expert in Schengen visas. So
we have one in the consortium now, so we'll let you know if we have any trouble.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Gopika, and good luck in your coming experiments.
Thank you.
We'll return now to Germany, and we have Amma that will give us a few words. So you were working in a company, right? That's in Ulume.
Yeah. So I'm working in Ulume, which is my main host, and my university is University of Kent. And in Germany, I'm based in Dortmund, and what I'm working on is semiconductor lasers. Like some people in the group in the NETLAS program are also working on semiconductor laser. So first of all, I would like to talk about motivation. So I was just in a conference last month with many of you in Dresden, and there was a talk from a guy over there, and he was almost 70 years old. And he told us about his journey that he lost his home, and he had to, because of the war, he had, fortunately because of his age, he couldn't get a job over there. But still, he was very motivated to do research in the field of physics, and he's working on developing lasers, and he got a visiting position in Italy, and he's still continuing, even though he lost his home and everything. He's still continuing to do research for the community. And yeah, it was quite a motivating talk for me to see that even in such hard times, he's working to progress the science and physics for the better of the world. And yeah, everyone applauded him, so it kind of also motivated me. But other than that, there is also some motivation behind me for me to do a PhD, is that you can get an opportunity to surround yourself with some of the brightest minds in the scientific field, and working with them makes you progress, makes you try to become a little bit like them every day, and try to become smart by following their footsteps. Okay, so from motivation, I would like to move towards my topic. The topic which I'm working on is developing semiconductor lasers, and it is a kind of actually very new field for me, because before starting my PhD, my education was in electrical engineering, and then my most of my work was in OCT, but I had no background in semiconductor lasers. But when I got the opportunity to work on semiconductor lasers, I studied a little bit, but then I said that field seems exciting. Okay, let's go for it. So this opened a new path which I started to explore. And during this journey, I learned a lot about semiconductors because I had no background in semiconductors. Uh, what I am developing over here is that I'm making a very small laser, which would be a very small chip, and it will not be involving any mechanical parts. So that's the novelty of this laser. And what excites me about this project is that we hope that we can make this laser commercial, and also we can use this for doing OCT in University of Kent. Also, there's one other thing which is very exciting in OCT, is that you can combine it with other imaging techniques. So you have OCT, you can combine it with fluorescence imaging, you can combine it with ultrasound. So you can see image on cellular level, also on molecular level, or with ultrasound, you can see it on much bigger, with a bit less resolution. But yeah, so you can do biopsies or every kind of thing, and help doctors in doing some disease diagnosis and saving lives in the world. So uh, so I would say that PhD is a very unique path in which some of the days you are some of the days can be very boring, in which you don't have much to do. You are waiting for your components. There's some time that the components are coming from other countries. In the times of COVID, the transport, the intercountry trade was very affected, and we had to wait quite a long time. But some days it can be very stressful. So I remember that one time I was doing an experiment in the lab, and I couldn't finish it, and I turned off the setup and came back. So the next day when I came back, I was still stressed, and I started doing a measurement, but I was getting no output. And I spent like 1 or 2 hours on it, and I was frustrated that I'm not getting any output from my laser. And then finally, what I saw was that I didn't even turn the electrical power on for the laser. So I would say that it's a journey. PhD is a journey that prepares you to be ready for the scientific world, and also during the way you interact with people from different cultures, in which you learn a lot about different cultures, and how to present yourself to others, and also how to communicate effectively to others. So yeah, this is my story. Yeah.
Thanks, Amar. That was very interesting, especially, reminding everyone that, well, science is not only being in the lab and doing your things, that's also about meeting everyone else and networking and doing collaboration. And this work, this presentation from the Galilei Medal Award, this Ukrainian, this was very inspiring, actually, and showing that even with very little, you can always do very interesting research if you want to. That's very motivating.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you very much. We now have Majdi. That's
Yeah.
You are in spotlight. Yes. No, you're not. Wrong person. Sorry, Philip. You'll stay there. So yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today, I will not talk about myself, but about a lens maker who was really obsessed with sky and devoted his life to make also others see what he can see in the sky. John Brashear was born in Pennsylvania in a poor family in 1840, and he was heavily influenced by his grandfather, who was a clockmaker. When he was 9, his grandfather took him to visit Saturn through the telescope, and that influential view of the moon and the planet Saturn stayed with him for the rest of his life. When he was 15 years old, he started to work as a mechanist and afterwards in a rolling steel mill in Pittsburgh. He pursued his love for astronomy at night with the help of his wife. He built his own workshop behind his house and proceeded to build his own refractor because it was too expensive back at that time that they couldn't afford to buy one. And they can make one and they can watch a star through it. He studied textbook, even taught himself German to be able to read the best text in the world. After 2 years of exhausted work, they managed to make a lens which was polished and perfect. His wife encouraged him to make another one, and again it took them another 2 years to make a 5-inch lens. He met with Langley, who was the director of the Allegheny Observatory back at that time, and Langley found out about his talent and started to support Brashear and encouraged him to make a refracting mirror for refracting telescope because refracting mirrors are cheap to make and you don't need to have that glass perfect. Then you can make them bigger, like bigger lenses. He carried out his work, and after polishing the lens, he had to coat it with silver to make a reflecting mirror, but the lens cracked in two. He wrote, "The lens cracked in two, but my heart shattered." Then he started to consult with different people, develop his own method of silvering, which was the easiest back at that time, and which is known as Brashear method. And this method was the common method of silvering till 1932, when vacuum metallization started to replace it. Langley encouraged him to expand his work. Then he made an ad that we are selling lenses and telescopes, but he put all the methods and all the ways that you need to do to make your own telescope and lenses by writing that, okay, these are the steps, but in case that you feel like you don't want to do it, we are here for you to make one. Then there was lots of requests, and after a while, he got pretty famous, but still humble that people anytime can visit him in his workshop asking questions, and he continued to show others as much as possible stars and celestial objects. Even once he visited a prison, that prisoners also had a chance to see through his telescope. Now the biggest challenge starts. After producing different lenses, he was asked to make a diffraction grating for Henry Rowland, who was a prominent physicist back at then. Diffraction gratings were famously hard to make. because their lenses are etched with parallel lines, that is split line, to different wavelengths, and they are really super precise. And to give you a scale, he had to polish 1,000 parallel lines in an inch. It was super difficult, but they managed to do it and send it to Henry to measure it. And to measure it against the reference sample that he had. And what popped up was Roland found that the Brashear grading has significant error. And he did this measure against the grading that he had from the best manufacturer back at that time. Then again, luckily, Langley was there and suggested that maybe it's not Brashear grading, which is with error, but the one that you're taking as a reference. And really, that was the case. So his grading was the best in the world. While other companies was making gratings of the couple of centimeter, Brashear was making gratings of couple of inches with better precision. So if you want to make a spectroscope, you really want Brashear. He received many awards, but the one meant most to him was honorary doctorate of science from University of Pennsylvania. And now, even though that he was very little with formal education, he received a doctorate degree. He felt so lucky that after 25 years of working in a steel mill, now he had the career of his dreams. Brashear founded his own company along other activities like giving lectures, being director of the Allegheny Observatory, president of the university. His goal was to make education accessible to everyone and make a foundation to give scholarships. His wife Phoebe eventually sustained a crippling injury and couldn't no longer walk, and he nursed her for the rest of her life. She passed away in 1910, and that broke his heart. By almost 80s, he was still sharp, but sometimes forgetful. Sometimes he forgot the name of the stars that meant so much to him, even Saturn, but never forgot the name of Phoebe. He passed away in 1920. His ashes are interred in a crypt at Allegheny Observatory along with his wife, Phoebe. A plaque on the crypt reads, we have loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night. A paraphrase of the last line of the poem, The Old Astronomer to His Pupil by Sarah Williams. Yes, that was my story about John Brashear.
Thanks. That was very inspiring as well. And that's always good to have a look at all these heroic figures that we have and might not be as well known as they deserve.
Exactly. Completely.
Thank you, Mojde.
Sure.
Now we have Adrian from University of Kent that will speak a little bit about his experience.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, okay. It's going to be a bit of a change of topic suddenly. It was a lovely story there, Mofe, so thank you so much for that. Well, as you all guys know, I'm not part of NETLAS, the same as Julian, and he's always a bit strange to be invited here, but also quite happy to see you all. And similarly to what Julian was doing earlier about telling funny stories and that, I'm going to try to also keep it lighthearted. But for this, I'm going to bring the other Spaniard in the group to help telling the story. Because I've been here already for 5 years, and actually I'm leaving soon. My PhD will be finishing in basically a month, and I will have then to finish writing. So I was going to try to talk a bit about not all the things, but the most peculiar case maybe, or the most impactful thing for me in these 5 years. That has been basically, if I can find it, I will share it. I'm going to share a couple of photos, but let me see if I can find them here. And select window. Yeah. Okay. as you can see here, it's just a photo of a pair of Galpo scanners, and the reason why is because I'm going to talk about living in a underground facility with no light for almost 5 years, and then trying to align lasers. And that's why Alejandro's also here, because he's been suffering that with me and asking a few times, right?
Every time. I mean, who the hell knows how to align? This is the most complicated thing in the world. I don't know how many hours I spend just aligning. We have to raise this topic to everyone in the lectures. We have to we need a course only on aligning.
And
we need it. Adrian Pod, we need it, please. This is going to save a lot of time.
I could have brought here also Gopika, because he also has a lot of stories aligning with her laser that she passed on me. And
yes, I agree.
So, and the photo that I took here is just from Galvo, because as you can see, just the spot going in the middle, and just you guys all know that these Galvos are not that big, and yet latest research that I've been doing that I still cannot talk much about it, but basically even just a small deviation there can destroy completely the image. Even if we don't know, if we don't notice in specific configurations, it can. And it's just a matter of microns of position, even in free space. So after 5 years living in that kind of condition, I was going to show why it took 5 years of aligning. And the thing is, I don't know if you're seeing now this picture here.
Yeah,
this was in my old setup position, and the lens that you see, well, the piece of glass that you can see in front, in the middle, is a dichroic. All of you know a dichroic is just too flat. It's just a flat piece of glass that is coated differently in most cases, so it can reflect part of the wavelengths and pass the other ones. So it should not do anything to the light, right? Like the light just should go in the same direction and everything should be the same. Well, yes and no, because it depends on how the light was going at that moment. I don't know if any of you here see any problem with where the dichroic is. So if you have any of you that doesn't know the story, are there that want to say if there is anything wrong on the position? What you can see in the left is an axial tracking system. What you see in the middle going is the top lens is the ending of a 4F OCT system, point scanning that is going into the eye model, and the dichroic is just in front of what will be the cornea. I will give you 10 seconds if no one says anything, or even less. Okay. So the thing is, because of the angle of 45 degrees that it has, when we are scanning, basically or not even scanning, even just the light going through the dichroic, while it's focusing, the path that the horizontal part of the wavefront will transverse through is different than the vertical. So directly we add an astigmatism in the system that I didn't know. And I still remember that moment with Alejandro when I started screaming of why the hell this is not working. And I was talking to him and I smacked the dichroic, and I saw the beam changing completely. And what I discovered is that actually the dichroic should have been always in between the telescope. And I realized this not 1 year, not 2 years, not even 3 years. It was almost in my 4th year of working with this system, a system that I had to align almost every day because I didn't know why it was changing so much from one day to another. Every day, an hour of aligning minimum to make it work. So it got to that extent that I had to 3D print my own mount and then trying to like adjust them so they will keep things in position. And the stress was so high that I needed help. So I didn't even train a small spider to be helping me to organize the fibers and then just connect them in place. But and I remember all of this while Alejandro was trying also in his system with also Esteban, and asking for help because I mean they didn't want to spend another like 3 years like I did, just having to deal with this shit. But anyway, that I don't know.
I mean, the good thing that you had to align 1 hour every day is that you are a master right now aligning, and that's why you use your expertise. Now in the lab, for example, when I'm trying to align something and I want to do it quickly, 15 minutes or something like that, I need to ask help for for Adrian. I can do it maybe, but half an hour, 1 hour, or 45 minutes, but Adrian can do it in 3 times less time than I can do it. So this is a good expertise for an optics lab.
And I was going to say that sadly I don't have any photo nor video of me basically vibrating an infrared card used to see the beam, but everyone that has been working here in Kent has seen me that the first thing that I do is start shaking an infrared card.
Yeah, but that's impossible. I mean, you see the angle, and the angle is minimum, and you see the angle through the card. That's amazing. I probably appreciate it.
But there is some benefit of like spending 4 years working on one system. At least you know how to make it work.
When I search for a job after this, it's going to be I can align. What else did you do during your PhD? Aligning.
That should be the first sentence of your CV, man.
Yeah. I mean, this is a nice expertise. Even here at LinkedIn, I'm calling Adrian to recommend me how to position the mirrors to have the easiest alignment.
Oh well, but it's going to be a shame to just not work with all of you guys again, because I'm going to miss actually the whole thing in Darmstadt next week, because that's the thing I need to technically be writing.
Yeah, good luck with that, and thank you very much for the talk. And well, happy birthday again.
Thank you.
So today happens to be Adrian's birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Which is it's funny also to bring Alejandro to talk with me when his was also 2 days ago. So yeah,
it's funnier than September. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know if you want to add anything, Alejandro.
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, I can add whatever, but yeah.
You can talk about the
I can
back of your house.
I think I can talk a little bit of something that happened last year, exactly 1 year ago, when Sasha was here, and we had the incredible 2 months. I don't know, did you talk about that?
No.
The incredible 2 months in which you came here with a laser. The laser got broke, and then we had only 1 month to do everything. We didn't have the setup ready, and by the time that we had the setup ready, that was just like 1 week. Less than 1 week from you to go. No, even you left, and the setup was not ready, right?
Yeah, that's when we managed to make it work on the day where I left. So you had to finish it, and you had 1 week only.
Yeah, exactly. So and we had to return the laser like 1 week later, and there was only 1 weekend to work with the laser. So I remember that weekend calling Adrian Podolano. We went both on the weekend on a Sunday to the lab, staying in the lab until, I don't know, 8:30 in the night, and trying to get some image. And finally we get some image. We didn't know what was in the data, if the data was corrupted, the data was good, but we took all the data for that experiment the last day, rushing a lot. And finally, this data was good. We could see the coin, what we were doing, and yeah, we did great.
Yeah, that's a bit what Amma said. I think that was you, and that sometime when you cannot do anything, so you just wait for lasers to be repaired, to be shipped. You just wait for your component to finally arrive, and then when finally everything is there, you have to rush and spend a lot of time on it.
Yes.
But yeah, that's how it is, and we have to adapt to this. to this few situation where it can be a little bit difficult, but for the best. I mean, you got just a paper about this funny experiment that has been published. Well, that will be published next month. So congrats.
Yes.
And that's useful. That's how we do it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I will also share a short experience. So I spent a lot of time also in this lab trying to align things again. Yeah, that looks like it is a recurring topic. I have a few pictures about it. We can just share this guy. Whoop. So yeah, no. Here and here we are. Can you see that? Great.
Yes,
thanks.
yes.
So can I actually select no. Well, so in my work, I work with invisible light, so infrared. So we are here at around 1 micron on the extreme left of right of this graph here, and actually that's a bit boring because you cannot really see the beam. So the idea in my project is to actually bring it a bit closer to what we can actually see. So trying to bring this light that we cannot see into the visible and get some red, hopefully, and maybe a bit more even. So I spend a lot of time just first trying to see my beam. That's not always easy. And when you cannot see it because that's infrared, obviously. One of the way to see it is actually to use a camera, and then it shines in this beautiful purple here. But most of the time, you actually never see what you're doing. And so that's the funny part where you have to align a beam that you cannot see into a fiber that's very small. So here you have the core of the fiber, which is approximately the thickness of your hair. And then you have to actually target to the very, very, very tiny core that's in the middle here. And if I had to give, so yeah, and that's what happens most of the time. You spend days and days and days aligning, and then at the end you become actually good, and you actually manage to couple the light inside this tiny core here. And just if I have to give a scale, here you have a little banana in the middle of a maze that we have here in University of Kent. That's me here, and that's like 2 benches, and that's this thing that we have here with all laser. So you can imagine that's very difficult to get inside, and once you're inside, it's very difficult to stay there. So every movement will just move your beam away, and then that's lost. So I spent days there, and I learned how to align, go through all the process, all the steps. I spent a lot of time in the lab, and at some point, well, so we have the beam coming here. That's invisible. You cannot see that, but well, we have light here, and that's actually red. So that was one of the big joy of the beginning of my PhD. I could finally see my laser that was generating enough light, enough broadening to actually reach the visible light. And yeah, that was amazing. But at some point, it just disappeared. I lost the power, and the next day, as you can see here, I have a little bit of shining here. But then I don't have all this light everywhere, and I get this thing that just this blue light here. And if you remember if you look at the spectrum here, blue is not really close to red, right? You have a few steps before getting to the blue, and we were scratching our head, and we were asking everyone, I mean, what is this blue color you can find here? And we still don't know. We're still not sure what this thing is. So sometime we do some research, we see some things, we try to find some explanation for that. We don't always get there, and that's what is very interesting. There is always a lot of work to do to try to explain all of these phenomena. You take this picture, you go around, you go to the fiber department, and you ask the fiber expert. He says doesn't know. You go to the laser expert, you show this picture, he says doesn't know. And then in the end, you just, well, that's one of these things that we will have to investigate one day if we have time. And yeah, basically. So that's the short story about how to bring non-visible lasers into beautiful pictures and into colors.
Thank you, Sasha. I'm thank you because you're gonna thank yourself probably.
Thanks.
But
well,
that was
but
great.
that would be weird.
Yep. How about you?
No, but so the person we can thank, however, that's all of you. So that's we all. That was NETLAS. That was all the students from NETLAS. We thank you for watching, for staying here, listening to all of these different point of view about what we experienced and how we live this PhD. And yeah, enjoy your European Researchers Night. Hopefully we will have other events to attend. And see you next year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Everyone. Next time that you bring people like Julian and I, you have to say NETLAS and friends.